Welcome CSE 102 class to EX04 surgeries, and I'm going to open up the instructions here, the PDF. We're going to start this from scratch, and these are the instructions, and it'll show you the information that you're going to need. These are the 6 doctors that we're going to use, and we're going to put in this information first: surgeries, complications for 2017, and then surgeries and complications for 2018. And then we're going to come up with some totals, and if you scroll down your instructions here, this is how we're going to start it, kind of with a little bit of a spreadsheet, kind of like a table like this. We're going to put in this information. This is the information that we're going to have, just like our save table, and then we're going to add this stuff up, and then we're going to get our totals here, and then we're going to figure out a rate of complication over here, and then we're going to make some charts. Here's some charts here. We're going to do a chart that has total surgeries and complications. That's actually a cluster chart because there's 2 values that'll be in there for each person. There'll be a total surgeries, which is pretty easy to do, and there'll also be a complication rate, which we're just going to use a percentage, which won't be hard to do either. So we've done charts before, so it'll be a little bit more of a review. So what we're going to do is put in this information first, and we're going to start this from scratch just so you're familiar with how to make a spreadsheet to start. So I'm going to launch Excel, and I'm working in Windows. And I'm just going to create a blank workbook. And if I go back to my instructions, just to see what I'm supposed to put in here, I have to put SHH bariatric surgeons. And even if you wanted to just copy something out of here, you can. And I am going to put this right in the first cell. So I'm just going to paste that right in the first cell. And notice it'll stretch over the cell when it goes in there. So don't worry about stretching anything out yet. Get the information that you need. And then we're going to have, you can see this will be the first column, which is A. This will be the second column, which is B, and we're going to put the dates or the years in the first column. So if this is A, this will be in B. So we'll put that in B. This will be blank because we'll merge them later. Same thing here. If this is A, B, C, we're going to put it in D, and then E, and then we're going to put totals in F. Just remember to put them on top of surgeries to start. Our next line is just going to be the dates. So we're going to put in the dates, and it actually might be easier to kind of skip one and just put the surgeons in here first. So I'm going to put surgeon, these are the titles going across, and then there's going to be Hollis, Reich, Allen, Smith, Randall, and Sue are going to be the 6 names that are going to go in here. So I'll put these in here. I'll skip one, and I'll start off with Hollis. I don't even care if you put doctor. If you just want to put Hollis, that's fine. You don't even have to put doctor because that'll just take more time. And then it was something like Hollis, Reich, and then for the dates, when we go across, and do I have surgeon in here? I think I might have forgot surgeon. I didn't put surgeon. Since I didn't do this right, I'm going to I'll cut these and I'll paste it one below, and I'll paste it. You don't have to do that, but I forgot to put surgeon in here. But you can see you could always cut and paste and just make sure you paste it where you have one more cell that you need. And then what we're going to do surgeries, complications, surgeries, complications, surgeries, complications, and then complications. So we're going to do surgeries and then complications. And then if you want, you could spread these out. Or if you want with these, you could highlight these 2 cells here. And then if you want, you could go format, auto fit, column width. That'll make them wide enough. And then you could copy these. And I'll do Control C. And you could just copy them here, Control V. And then I could paste them right over these 2, Control V. And then again, for all of these, if I highlight these cells, I can do auto fit column width to make sure I have enough room. So surgeries, complications, surgeries, complications, surgeries, complications, and then the last one is going to say complications. And then I'm just going to stretch that out manually. I'll go in between here, get the double arrow, stretch it out. And now I have enough room for all this stuff, and I'm going to put the dates up here. So this is 2017, and notice how I'm just going above the surgeries, and then surgeries, complications, and then this one is going to be totals, and I'll just put totals in here. And this one's going to be rate of. We'll just put rate of in here. We're going to read this all together, but we'll just put rate of in there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put our totals in the bottom. So we're going to put totals down here, and we don't need to put anything else as we go across. And then we're going to put our data in here. So let's go back and just check it out again. And I'm going to do 79.3, 157.4. 79, tab 3, tab 157, tab 4. So I have those in surgeries, complications, surgeries, complications. Let me just make sure I have them right. And they're right. So then I have 43.8, 68.5. I'll finish these off. All right, I have all my values in here so far. It's not formatted to look nice yet, but I have all my values. And a couple things I can do here, since I'm going to be ending here, I can highlight A all the way through H. That's where we're going to, and I could do merge and center. And then these, with the years, I could do merge and center. And I'll highlight these two and do merge and center. And for totals, I'll do merge and center. And for these two, I'm not merging these, I'm just centering them. So I'll just use the regular center align. So I have everything centered okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to add up the totals at the bottom. Go here and do auto sum. And it's selecting what I want, so I'm just going to hit enter. And same thing here, I'm going to do auto sum. And I could do this. I could just click here and grab the fill handle, and then it'll auto sum across, knowing to auto sum all the cells that are above it. So I could just do that, and you just double check it and just make sure it's getting the right ones. That's 26. So 3 and 8 is 11, and 2 is 13, and 9 is 22, and 4 is 26. So that's okay. So it's adding these up correctly. So we're good as far as the math goes for doing the auto sum. I could have auto summed them one at a time, but now I have those all added up. And now we're going to have to add up the surgery totals and then add up the complications. And now this will be a little bit different because we're going to have to kind of jump over one here. We're not going to be able to go through it. So this will be a little more tricky. So what I'm going to do here, first of all, is I'm going to center these things. And I'll center all of this stuff. All the values that we have. Not merge and center, we're not merging anything, but just center them so they look okay. So they're kind of centered in their columns. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to add up surgeries. So we're going to do auto sum, and it's looking at these. It's looking at all of these together, except all that we really want for the surgeries is going to be B4 and then D4. So we can go in here and actually just go in between here and put a comma. And I'll do D4. So that's what we want. We want B4 and we want D4. And you can see we just want the surgeries. So it's going to say equal sum B4 comma D4. You could put a plus sign in there as well. But if you just do a comma, that means both of those cells, B4 and D4. And then once you do that, you can just kind of hover over this corner here until you get the thin plus sign, and then just drag down, and then they should do the same thing. So this one's doing B5 and D5, and this one's doing B6 and D6. So it's using the relative reference from where they're at. So it's updating everything just as it should. And then we could do the same thing over here. We're going to do complications, and you can do auto sum, and it's going to go across, except what we're going to want is we're going to want C4 and E4. So we'll go in here and change this to C4. So it's going to be C4 and E4, C4 comma E4, using the complication. And then if I hit enter, I should get 7 because it's adding up 4 and 3, which is C4 and E4. And now remember, there's C4 and there's E4, and it's adding them up, C4 comma E4. Now it's going to use that same relative reference if I just hover over the corner and get the thin plus sign, not the fat plus sign, and I don't want to be in here, so I just want the thin plus sign, and I could just drag these down, and you could just double check them. That's 8 and 5 is 13, that's 2 and 1 is 3, so they're adding up everything okay. 21 and 26 is 47, so it's adding these up okay. So we have all our values in here, so everything's okay as far as our values, and the next thing we're going to do is our rate of complications, and then we'll just format this nicely. Now in our instructions it says create a formula that applies to the last column that displays a complication percentage. So we're going to have to format it as percentage, and it's going to be from total surgeries and complications data. So it'll be from the totals, and then we're just going to use 1 decimal point. So let's just figure this out. We'll go back here to figure out the complications. It's actually the percentage is going to be 7 out of 36. So what we want to do here is do equal sum, and we're going to use these two values here, and it should be the small number divided by the large number. So what we want to put in here is not the number, we want to use G4 divided by F4. So G4 divided by F4. Let's see if that works. And we have a number like that, about right, but we have to put it in a percentage. and it's saying 3%, we actually want to put 1 decimal on it. So what we could do is we could open this up. If you have this little button here, you could open this up, and we'll just say decimal place, and we'll just add 1 to it. So it'll be 3.0 or 3 point whatever. So now it's saying 3.0. And once we do that, once we figure that out, just that number, G4, divided by that number, F4, converting it to percentage, making it 1 decimal point by opening up the options here, then we could just drag this down, and then we'll have all our percentages with 1 decimal place. Okay, and then what we're going to do next is just kind of format this thing. And I'll do this real quick, then we'll take a break and we'll do part 2 just to do the charts. So I'll just go here, I'll make this bigger. I don't know if I give you specific ways to do this. Let me just check. I'll do this like 18, I'll make it bold. I would do all the fonts first. You could probably leave the fonts the way they are, and we'll just do some colors. So if you did things like this, maybe you did this one with the paint bucket and you did kind of like a light blue, and maybe this one is a little bit of a darker blue, and maybe this one you could do kind of a green, and then maybe down here we can do darker ones down here. I'll look at my sample just to see what we've done in the past. Here's the sample down here. You can see there's some darker colors at the top, darker colors over here, same colors at the bottom, and then a red for over there, and then we actually did grays in between. So we could do something like that. So I'll go back here. I used a salmon color here, or something like a light orange, so I'll use the paint bucket again, and I'll just use like a light orange like that. This one, I'll use a dark blue, and then I'll make sure I make my type white. And then same thing down here, I'll do the same thing, make my type white, and I think I'll make these, I'll do these the same color as what they are up there. And again, it doesn't matter, whatever you think looks okay for this. It doesn't matter that much as far as the colors. Just so, the whole point is that you make it easier to read. So for example, if I go across here, I'm going to highlight these, the odd rows, and then I'm going to hold down my control key and do these, and then do these, and then I'll make these kind of like a gray color. Now it's hard to see it when it's highlighted because it looks gray, so I'm just going to go here and use a very light gray color. And that's just easier to see those numbers. And then down here, I'll just use the same color that's on the top. I'll just use like a blue up there, and then I'll use another blue coming down, and then I'll use a green coming down, something like that. And I think here I used a red. I'll use a red and make the type white. Maybe these things I'll make red and make the type white. And I think that looks good enough for now. I could certainly stretch this out so the name's a little easier to read over here, but everything looks okay. And I think on the top, I actually made this whole cell. You could give that like a dark color if you want. I'll give it a dark blue, and then whenever you use a dark color, use a white type. It's just easier to read. So that looks okay. I don't think I have to change any fonts or anything like that. So that's kind of the spreadsheet. Now this is the spreadsheet. This isn't really this is the data. These aren't the charts. You could put your charts here. You could even put your charts on different sheets if you want. But we'll just put our charts, we'll just put them around our data that we have on here right now. Now, I haven't saved this yet, so I'm going to go Save As, and I'm going to save it here, and I'll go in I have an Excel folder here, and I'll just save it as EX04, and I'll use underscore, and this is surgeries, and I'll just put my last name first initial, and on Windows it'll put the extension automatically, so I'll just hit save. And now I have that saved, and let me just look at my instructions quick and see if I was following those, or maybe I'll change my instructions to match what I was doing here. So as far as some of the formatting, I didn't really give specific instructions to the formatting, so I think we have everything ready. We're just going to do our chart, so we'll do that on part 2